How have your experiences as a child in Brooklyn shaped your personality?
Well, I think in a few ways. First of all, I grew up in a family that enjoyed taking long walks, walking around Brooklyn neighborhoods, walking from Brooklyn to Manhattan, walking around Manhattan neighborhoods. And I continue to be somebody who really enjoys spending lots of time walking, either in conversation or just on my own, thinking things through. Secondly, Brooklyn, as you know, is a borough with great racial and socioeconomic diversity, and I grew up in that kind of world. And so I'm very comfortable being around lots of different people from very different backgrounds. Um, and thirdly, I grew up in a family that really took advantage of our proximity to cultural institutions. I spent a lot of time in libraries and museums, and I still am very comfortable in those places today. So I think in at least those ways, I'd say Brooklyn continues to cast an important impact in my life.
So, what values do you hold most important in your life?
I think some of the values that matter most to me are openness, both emotional and intellectual. I sort of value people who are open to different kinds of people, broad ranges of ideas, to knowledge that's new for them. Along with that, I think I value generosity, not just philanthropic, although that's certainly important, but even beyond that, I mean an emotional generosity, a willingness to give other people the benefit of the doubt and to believe the best in other people. I think I value, along with that, curiosity, a willingness to have adventures and to take risks. Those are some of the values I think that matter most to me.
Outside of your career, how do you enjoy spending your time?
I enjoy movies, theater, yoga, hiking, Pilates, spending time with friends, cooking. I like to cook. Those are probably some of my favorite hobbies outside of work.
What are some takeaways from your experiences at Princeton that you feel may apply well here?
Well, at Princeton, I spent a considerable amount of time studying the experiences of students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds to determine how best the university could support all of its students, both on the academic side and on the sort of social and co-curricular side. I think some of what we learned there, I think might be useful here as we think about how to ensure that all students have a rich and fulfilling experience while they're at the college. I also learned the value of working collaboratively with colleagues across the university in a range of academic departments as well as administrative departments. And I think that that my experience of working collaboratively and bringing people together who would not necessarily believe that they had things in common served me well there, and I would hope it would serve me well here.
After education at Bates College and the University of Virginia, and positions at Berkeley, UCLA, and Princeton, what drew you to Swarthmore?
Many things. The reputation of the college as one of the finest liberal arts institutions in the world, the reputation of the students as being incredibly bright, the reputation of the faculty as being outstanding scholars as well as really dedicated teachers, and just I have known many Swarthmore alums who are some of the most accomplished people in their fields, and who also are all bound together by a desire to give back and to make a major contribution in their communities, whether we define that community sort of locally or nationally or globally. So there's a sense of intellectual seriousness accompanied by a real sense of of social mission. I think that combination struck me as being really powerful, and it's why I was so attracted to Swarthmore.
Your curriculum vitae indicates that you are a member of the Yale School of Engineering and Applied Science Leadership Council, as well as the New Jersey Council for the Humanities and the McCarter Theater Center. Do you feel involvement in such diverse disciplines is important?
Yes, I do. Just for the record, I should mention that I stepped down from the New Jersey Council for the Humanities and the McCarter Board when I took this job. And I have, but also when I took this job, I was invited to join the Yale Leadership Council. But part of the reason why I think it's been important and so valuable for me to be affiliated with these different kinds of organizations is because, in a way, I think it is an expression of the value of the liberal arts. I have been intrigued to think about, for example, the public role of the humanities. So being a part of the board of the New Jersey Council for the Humanities has provided me with the opportunity to work with people from across the state of New Jersey in a range of different areas to think about what the meaning of the humanities is, what the influence of the humanities might be, and how the humanities can speak to people and impact lives from all different arenas. People with a broad range of educational backgrounds, for example, but how we could partner with institutions across the state to broaden the impact of the humanities. Being on the board of McCarter Theater was a wonderful way of thinking about how we could introduce the arts and performance to a broad constituency of folks within the state, within the region. And so I enjoyed working collaboratively with those folks. I was compelled to join the Leadership Council at Yale when I was invited to do so, because Yale is thinking really creatively about the role of engineering in a liberal arts context, and how the engineering school might work creatively in partnership with other academic disciplines, and it might think about ways that its work would be more compelling to students, say, in the arts and the humanities, social sciences, etc. I think I worked with colleagues in engineering at Princeton around some of those same issues, and I would love to be part of that conversation to see whether or not ideas and initiatives that are circulating there might be useful back here to our colleagues.
Swarthmore has received negative press attention regarding its dealing with sexual assaults. What actions do you feel must be taken in response to this outcry?
Well, I think Swarthmore has already done quite a lot in this area to respond to some of the concerns and issues that have been raised in the past. Swarthmore has so I will say that. The other thing I'll say is that, notwithstanding the fact that we've done a lot, it's important for us to remain vigilant, because this is not doing, the steps we've taken do not mean that we have solved the issue. I think this is such an important, such a critical issue that we need to continue to examine our practices and procedures. But some of the things we've already done that I think have made a difference involve, for example, having put our procedures and policies through an external review as well as an internal review. We have hired, I think, at least 5 new staff people whose charge is to address these issues and concerns. We have overhauled our policies and procedures. We've created a student Title IX advisory committee who work with the Title IX coordinator on issues of education, and also providing their feedback to practices that are emerging from the office. We put a major institutional effort on educating students about appropriate conduct, and also to make sure students understand what the consequences of their behavior would be. And we've also paid a lot of attention to our adjudication processes to ensure fairness for both complainant and respondent alike. So I think we've done a lot, in this area already, but we continue to remain vigilant, as I said, because this is such an important area of concern on the campus.
Swarthmore was founded in 1864 by Quaker individuals from a variety of backgrounds, including education, business, and anti-slavery activism. How do you plan to continue this tradition of diversity?
In a couple of ways. I think it's important for the admissions office and all of us who work closely with admissions to do what we can to attract students from as broad a range of backgrounds as possible. And by that I mean not only, I mean certainly racial and socioeconomic and national, in terms of national origin, but also in terms of sexual orientation, political, religious affiliation. But I think we want to make sure that we attract to the college as broad a population of students as we can. That's the first thing. And then secondly, I think it's critical that we emphasize the value of inclusion in the community, so that everyone who comes here feels that that their voice is important, is valued, is respected. Their experience is important, valued, and respected, and they can expect to be heard and treated, and everyone will be treated with respect. And in fact, I'll just say this: at the first collection for the first-year students, I was so impressed by how many students talked about the sense that this was a community where they would be loved and respected, that they expected that their classmates would love and respect them. And that's what I heard from the students, and that was one of the things that made me feel I had come to the right place. So that's what what the students articulated for themselves is what I want for them. I want people, no matter what their background, to feel that this is a place where they'll be loved and respected.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you for preparing for this. Thank you for coming here.
Well, no, it's my pleasure.